Well, the government has issued new guidelines on making workplaces safe, including observing the 2-metre social distancing where possible and minimising risk where it's not possible. Workers in industries such as construction and manufacturing who can't work from home, as we said, are being encouraged to go to work this week, though preferably not by public transport. And union leaders have cautiously welcomed the guidance, though they still have concerns, as our business editor Simon Jack tells us.
Wake-up time for the economy. Here at this bed and mattress factory in Cambridgeshire, activity is stirring slowly back into life. 68 workers out of a normal 300 have volunteered to come back to work. Sue is one of the team leaders.
It's just good being back at work, seeing friends, colleagues and that, and the day goes quicker than being at home doing nothing.
Working with a skeleton crew like this means it's mostly possible to keep your social distance, but not all the time. Some workers need protective equipment, and Bensons' operations manager says that getting back to full swing will require more radical changes.
We may have no other option if demand continues to grow and we have a need to get back to full or close to full capacity, but to introduce shift work, because we cannot work as we were in the past with a full shift, everybody working close together. We can't maintain social distancing.
Where social distancing is not possible, it advises back-to-back, side-by-side working or the use of masks. It suggests working in fixed teams to avoid mixing groups of personnel, avoiding public transport where possible, while staggering arrival and break times. Construction's also on the list of industries being encouraged to get workers back on the job. Outdoor work is considered less risky, and many sites like this one in Bristol have been back at work for weeks. But the boss of Bedfordshire-based Storey Homes said that if workers and subcontractors didn't obey the rules, the consequences could be swift and severe.
Everybody has to adhere to them, otherwise they will be asked to leave site and may not be asked to return. So people's livelihoods depend on them working in construction. If you don't work, you don't earn. No one is just popping the champagne corks and saying, we're all coming back on Monday. Everybody is being very, very sensible about it.
The last 24 hours have arguably placed more responsibility and more discretion in the hands of employers, and that concerns unions.
We're saying that they shouldn't be pressured into going back to work and they should refuse, and we will obviously defend them.
It is a slow and tentative green light for small parts of the economy, but with a warning that if infection rates begin to accelerate, the brakes go back on. Simon Jack, BBC News.
Well, many businesses on the high street are still not able to open for many weeks, possibly months. Business owners say that they still have unanswered questions about the circumstances in which they might be able to reopen. Our business correspondent Emma Simpson has been to St Albans to speak to some of them.
Our high streets have been deserted for 7 weeks now. The reopening still on pause. Here in St Albans, the owners behind these shop fronts are now thinking about the road ahead. And they've more questions than answers, like David and Sarah at the jewellery shop.
We're very worried about the basics of basically serving people. Yeah. So sitting down 6 feet away is not ideal in a jewellery shop. We're very used to getting up close and personal, measuring a finger, maybe attaching a necklace around a lady's neck.
People ask you to do their earrings?
Yeah, touching a pair of earrings.
Mark and Sophie run the hairdressers. They, along with beauty salons, won't be reopening until July at the earliest. Childcare is a big worry for this family business.
Our oldest son is at school, my daughter is at nursery. We don't know what the situation is with that opening. We have grandparents, but they're in the age category where we shouldn't really be exposing them. For us to open, it's worthless unless I can ensure that both of my children are looked after.
Sean runs 3 pubs in St Albans and doesn't know when he will reopen. He says he can't follow the rules on social distancing because he needs his pubs full to survive.
Without that, we cannot trade. So we have an option. We shut and that's it, and we never reopen, or we try and develop something that we can continue on. But to do that, we are going to need a hell of a lot of government support.
There's a lot for businesses to digest tonight. The government says they'll have to be innovative in getting back to work. There's certainly a willingness to do that here. There's even an idea to pedestrianise the city centre to coax people back. Helen and Andrew run a bridal and menswear business. Like everything else, weddings have been put on hold.
Biggest worry is not having the clients come back because they've been so used to being at home. We're all different businesses on this street, but we are all interlinked, and if people don't come out and spend their money, we're basically, that's it, we'd have to shut.
They're desperate to reopen, but for now these owners will have to wait. Nobody knows when our high streets will be crowded again. Emma Simpson, BBC News, St Albans.